Hello. In my travels, I've heard about accessing clear consciousness, specifically from the family of Abraham, similar to what Esther's doing. And I've heard certain people say, oh, I can do this pretty well because I don't have so many filters in place. And I've been wondering, what are these filters that people are talking about? Is it something that we really need to work on to access clearer communication? Is it something that Esther started out with, many, many filters, and now she's able to, through the passage of time or practice, free herself of? Has her communication from Abraham become clearer because of these filters that are no longer in place? Could you elaborate upon that for me, please?
Well, by filters, it is likely that they are referring to beliefs that would contradict the vibration of Abraham and therefore would hinder the reception of Abraham. Sort of like setting your radio dial on one frequency while you're trying to receive another. Doesn't work out very well. So we want to start at the end of your questions and work back, because Esther had some resistance that she no longer has. But Esther was one, and there are many like her, who had far less resistance or filters than normal people, because she just had not come to so many biases and opinions about so many things. And that really is the heart of filters. Let's come back a little bit and begin in another place. Every thought that you ever think still exists. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists. And law of attraction responds to those thoughts. Once you think a thought, the thought even thinks. And there are so many thoughts about so many things that those thoughts could contradict one another. So one powerful thought could be a contradiction of another. And we suppose that's what whoever you're talking to is referring to as these filters. When Esther meditated, she was able relatively easily to focus upon her breathing and quiet her mind. And by quieting her mind, she stopped the activation of all thought, which means all filters in your story were not present, which made it easier for her to receive what we were offering. When Esther first began receiving for us, she could only speak for a few moments before she would be tired. And over time, we were able to help her to understand it was because she was feeling resistance. And the resistance that she felt was all around the subject of this process. She was worried about what people would think. She was worried about being the strange one. In fact, she made Jerry promise that he wouldn't tell anyone. And those thoughts were a sort of filter that didn't keep her from receiving us, but it kept her from receiving us easily. So as time has gone by, Esther's ability to receive us is easier and easier and easier, because she is now no longer afraid. She no longer has those thoughts that are contradictory to that energy stream that is us. Everyone has access to this source energy. Everyone does. And to the degree that you desire connection to it, and that you are able to release resistance that keeps you from it, everyone has access to this. As a general rule, we've noticed that most who do it, the longer they do it, the more resistance-free they become. And it is certainly in the case with Esther, because the more she has learned from us and the more she's able to apply what she's learned from us to her own life experience, the more she raises her vibration. And so the separation between Esther allowing the fullness of Abraham and Esther just moving through her day-to-day experience is less of a noticeable thing. In the beginning, Jerry noticed that people would come up on a segment of refreshment and ask Esther a question, and Jerry would sort of stand in the background going, Ask Abraham, he's saying to them, because he knew there was a big difference in the answer they were going to get from Esther and the answer that they were going to get from Abraham. In other words, Esther just did not have it. But as time has gone by, Esther's got it. In other words, so many of you have it. So many of you could express as clearly with your own words or remembering the words that you've heard here, you see. And so the word filter is not our favorite word in all of this. We would just like to say that the more you are in alignment with who you really are, the less you are offering thoughts that resist it. And the less resistance you have, then the more in sync you are with. And we're talking about that, closing that gap. That's what we're talking about all day, every day, isn't it? Did we get to what you were reaching for?